Welcome back to today's Explainer. Man, get ready because the stakes, they literally do not get any higher than this. We're looking at Friday's massive round of 32 knockout matches. It's win or go home, do or die football. We've got three totally different, incredibly high-stakes matchups to break down today. And honestly, the tactical clashes on display here are just absolutely fascinating. So grab your notebooks and let's get right into the action.
Okay, let's dive right into this match day agenda. First up, we've got a massive clash of styles with Australia versus Egypt. Second, a classic David versus Goliath matchup featuring Argentina and Cabo Verde. And third, a high-octane thriller between Colombia and Ghana.
Match number 1, a total clash of styles. Australia taking on Egypt.
So this 1 p.m. kickoff is basically the definition of a stylistic collision. You look at Australia, right? Their greatest strength is this extreme physical robustness and total set-piece dominance. But they do lack elite central creators, meaning they really struggle to break down deep defensive blocks. Now on the flip side, Egypt is built perfectly to frustrate them. They've got a highly disciplined defensive structure and just blazing world-class transition speed. But Egypt's glaring weakness is an over-reliance on Mohamed Salah for open play goals. It's a fascinating dynamic. If the Aussies commit too many bodies forward for those set pieces, they are incredibly vulnerable to Egypt's rapid counterattacks.
When you look at how these teams line up, the midfield battle is absolutely where this game is won or lost. Keep an eye on Jackson Irvine for Australia. His relentless box-to-box engine and possession recoveries, they're going to clash directly with Egypt's super-disciplined midfield trio of Atia, Fatih, and Ashore. It is going to be an absolute grueling battle for control right in the center of the pitch.
Now, to really understand Australia's game plan, you have to look at Harry Sutar. He is their absolute focal point. Standing at nearly 6'6", his specialty is just utter aerial dominance. He isn't just a solid defender. He is their primary threat on every single corner and free kick. Egypt's center backs are going to have their hands completely full trying to stop him from overwhelming them in the box.
Just how dominant are we talking here? Well, Sutar actually sits in the 99th percentile for aerial duels won. It's staggering, and because of this, he boasts an incredibly high goal-scoring rate for an international defender. Basically, every single time the ball goes in the air, Australia has a massive statistical advantage.
But of course, Egypt counters with their ultimate weapon, Mohamed Salah. He brings world-class finishing, explosive acceleration, and that famously lethal left foot. Salah consistently ranks in the top global percentiles for touches in the opposition penalty area. If Australia sends Sutar and the big men forward and leaves space at the back, Salah has the top-tier pace to ruthlessly punish them in transition.
So the crucial takeaway here is how these teams execute their win conditions. For Australia, they absolutely have to turn this into a physical battle, maximize every single corner, and constantly double-team Salah. For Egypt, it's all about maintaining that rigid defensive block, avoiding cheap fouls around the penalty box so Sutar doesn't even get a chance, and exploiting the space behind Australia's slower center backs.
Moving on to match number 2, David versus Goliath, Argentina versus Cabo Verde.
This matchup is basically framed as a potential legendary upset. We have a tournament heavyweight with unmatched pedigree going up against a completely fearless underdog. Argentina brings elite playmaking and a masterful midfield trio that just completely controls the game's rhythm. But, they do lack overall team height, and their high defensive line can actually be quite vulnerable to raw straight-line speed. And this brilliantly illustrates what Cabo Verde brings to the table: incredible team spirit, a fearless attacking mentality, and highly unpredictable wing play. They have literally nothing to lose. But Cabo Verde does lack the elite tactical discipline needed to defend against a world-class passing network for a full 90 minutes.
Glancing at these starting rosters, you kind of just have to marvel at Argentina's midfield. De Paul, Fernandez, McAllister. It is a truly stacked trio. Enzo Fernandez, in particular, will be tasked with dictating the tempo from deep, using his elite passing range to just completely break the lines against Cabo Verde's setup. The biggest challenge for Cabo Verde here, trying not to get physically exhausted while being starved of possession by this relentless Argentine ball circulation.
And obviously, the absolute center of gravity for Argentina is the genius of Lionel Messi. His primary objective today will be utilizing his unmatched vision and close-quarters dribbling to totally dictate the attacking flow. He's going to be actively trying to pull Cabo Verde's deep defensive block completely out of shape.
And the stats completely back up his continued dominance. He still ranks number 1 globally in metrics like progressive passes, shot-creating actions, and expected assists. He is the ultimate puzzle that Cabo Verde has to somehow solve.
Enter Logan Costa. He's the Cabo Verde center back tasked with his near-impossible job. Costa's specialty is physical tackling and last-ditch defending. He actually posts immense numbers for total clearances, blocks, and defensive actions right inside his own penalty area. Let's be real, he's going to need the game of his life to keep Argentina at bay.
Wrapping up our 5 p.m. preview, here's what it takes. For Argentina, quick ball circulation is vital to force the underdogs to open up, ideally snagging an early goal, paired with immediate counter-pressing. But for Cabo Verde to execute one of the greatest upsets in international sports history, they need a heroic goalkeeping performance from Vozinha, a flawless deep block anchored by Costa, and absolute ruthlessness on the 1 or 2 counterattacking chances they actually managed to get.
And finally, match number 3, high octane, Colombia versus Ghana.
This 8:30 p.m. nightcap, it is expected to be an absolute track meet. Colombia brings electric attacking flair, incredibly physical box-to-box midfielders, and dynamic wingers who just thrive in one-on-one situations. But they can lose their defensive shape when things turn into chaotic end-to-end shootouts. And Ghana? Well, they are fully equipped to trigger exactly that chaos. They boast intense counterattack pace and a highly energetic midfield engine room. Their main vulnerability, though, is defensive lapses and concentration, particularly on crosses and set pieces. Looking at these starting lineups, there is a fascinating tactical duel taking shape right in the middle of the pitch. Colombia's James Rodriguez, with his long-range passing vision, will be going head-to-head against the structural shielding of Ghana's Thomas Partey. Partey is elite at ball recoveries, while Rodriguez is elite at key passes. Something's gotta give here. Now, Colombia's true danger man out wide is Luis Diaz. He is known for explosive pace, relentless running, and incredibly unpredictable one-on-one dribbling. He has this really unique ability to stretch Ghana's fullbacks all the way out to the touchline, which then exposes the gaps right between Ghana's center backs.
And the metrics prove just how lethal Diaz actually is. He ranks in the top tier of wingers globally for touches in the penalty box, progressive carries, and successful attacking duels. If Colombia manages to isolate him against Ghana's defenders, he is going to be an absolute nightmare for them to contain.
On the flip side, Ghana's X-factor is Mohamed Kudus. This guy has an incredible low center of gravity, superb tight ball retention, and lethal long-range striking. He actually leads the Ghanaian squad in successful dribbles and fouls drawn in dangerous areas. Honestly, he is the perfect weapon to isolate in the half spaces and really expose those structural inconsistencies in Colombia's defense. To summarize these final tactical game plans, for Colombia, they absolutely must utilize Diaz on the left flank, allow Rodriguez to dictate the tempo so this doesn't become a completely out-of-control track meet, and maintain strict defensive discipline against Ghana's counters. For Ghana, they've got to win that cruelly physical battle in the midfield, isolate Kudus to run at defenders, and they must defend their penalty area with literally 0 mistakes. The team that manages the chaos best is going to advance.
And that wraps up today's tactical breakdown. We've seen a massive clash of styles, the potential for a monumental David versus Goliath story, and a high-octane thriller just waiting to happen. The tournament stakes are win or go home. And honestly, on days like this, absolutely anything is possible. So I'll leave you with this. Looking at the structures, the tactics, and the raw talent we just talked about, which underdog do you think is most primed to pull off the ultimate Friday upset? Think about it, enjoy the matches, and we'll see you in the next explainer.